Hi, um, this is my first video. My name's Kath, and this is my journey with Parkinson's. Basically, I was having a few problems about when I was 44. I'm 50 now, and wasn't sure what it was, but it started off with a very large cyst in my stomach, and had to have that removed, and then found out I had cancer cells, so then they removed my ovaries and my tubes and so on, and then I had a frozen shoulder. Then I noticed I got, because a lot of people assume Parkinson's, it's a tremor and, you know, but I didn't shake, I was just very slow, could hardly move. I used to say to my husband, what's wrong with me? you know, and I found it really, really difficult to think straight. It become really hard, like worse than brain fog. And I'm doing this video basically because I found a lovely lady that lives in Canada called Darlene, and she did my life with Parkinson's, so I'm doing my journey with Parkinson's. But I couldn't find anybody else that told it like she did, and I think that's the problem. Parkinson's has been around for a long time, but not a lot of people know about it. And I'm trying to get it out there and help people if I can, because even though I'm married, lovely, I've got four children, and a lovely stepson called Logan. My eldest daughter's called Tony. Then I've got Emily. Then I've got Gwendolyn, and then I've got Declan. But anyway, uh, but Darlene was amazing, and she was an inspiration to me, and this is why I'm doing this, because she's in Canada, I'm in England, and there just isn't, as you can see, I'm not shaking. I've had my medication, so at the minute I'm what you call on time. There's on time, off time. Off time is where I can't walk, I can hardly talk, I can barely function. And believe me, looking after your children and trying to cook tea when you're off is really impossible. So unless you've got Parkinson's, you'll not know what I mean. But I just basically wanted to do this because I couldn't find anybody to help me, because even though I'm married and I've got children, it's a very lonely disease. You feel very much alone. You see the consultant now and again, and but you do feel alone to deal with it, because once you get home, that's it, you're on your own. And my husband's amazing, but it's still very difficult. So you know but basically, each day I should do something different, or say something I've done, or like today I'm not too bad, but next time I do a video I'll probably do it when I'm off, and then you can see the difference, because at the minute my neck's still quite slim. I'm talking okay, um, and it's very difficult because it changes you. I was very, for a long time, you know, they got it wrong, because they don't always get it right, and they kept telling me I'd got this fibromyalgia, and they kept giving me all these different tablets, and then I went back to see one doctor, and they said, how do you expect to get better if you don't take the medicine? And I'm like, but I don't need high blood pressure tablets, my blood pressure's low and I feel awful on them. And this is what I couldn't make them understand. I don't think I've got fibromyalgia. Anyway, long story short, I had to pay some money to see a private doctor, but he was awful. But I got the diagnosis. He told me I had Parkinson's, but he also said, you know, what's wrong with you? We all have to die of something. Well, that totally destroyed me, because I'd got to go home that night and tell my children that their mum was ill, and so I found another doctor, a lovely doctor. I've got a really nice doctor now, so always ask for a second opinion if you're not happy. I won't go on too long because, but anyway, over the course of the however many weeks, months, years I do this, you will see me obviously change, or some days will be good, some days will be bad, but it's to help other people. So if anybody's got any questions or anything they're just worried about, I'm not a doctor, I can only give my opinion. I learnt that from Darlene. We are very knowledgeable with our own Parkinson's, because everybody with Parkinson's is different. It affects us all differently. There's thousands of us, but none of us are the same. That's why it's going to be very hard to find a cure. But I've got a very good consultant, who assures me that in 5 years' time there'll be this, I think it's brain stem cell treatment. Anyway, what they're offering me now as a stopgap, because what happens with me is, I used to be, about 5 years ago, before they diagnosed me, I used to be nearly 16 stone. I'm now 9 stone 12. I lost loads of weight because I couldn't swallow, basically, and got very poorly. And when they did find out I've got Parkinson's, I can swallow, but sometimes I can't, because I was probably, anyway, they've offered me, because the tablets don't work if I eat, basically, I switch off. So they've offered me this thing called the Duodopa pump. All being well, if it goes ahead, I'll be having it on the 31st. I'll be going into hospital on the 31st of March. Sorry, this is the other thing with Parkinson's. Your brain gets muddled, and so I'll be going in on the 31st of August, and having it on the 1st of September. I will remain in hospital until the Friday, the 4th or 5th of September, and then I will be home. And it's basically a large pump with a tube that goes into my lower intestine, and it will deliver my medicine constantly, evenly throughout the day. But it will go into my bloodstream, into my lower intestine, into my bloodstream via a tube, rather than me swallowing the pills. And then this is the way I should be able to eat and function better, hopefully go out for a meal with my children, because at the minute I do go out, but I can't eat if I'm out. I have to watch them eating, and from someone that used to be a comfort eater, believe me, that is extremely hard. And but I just wanted to tell you a little bit about myself and my family. And as I say, I've got an amazing husband. I do have some pictures, but I'm not very tech savvy, and I haven't worked out how to add the pictures to the beginning of the video, but eventually I may work it out. But for now, when I speak to you, it will just be me. But I will come on hopefully daily, let you know how I am, what my day is like, if I've been to the hospital, or what I'm going to have done. But this pump is a big thing. Not scared. I'm 50-50, I'm positive, because my consultant has every faith that it's the best thing for me and it will work well, and I'm a good candidate and all the rest of the criteria is met, but it's a big thing. So I think the hardest thing is being away from my family. This is the other thing about Parkinson's. You go to sleep every night just praying you wake up and you're the old me, because the new me takes a lot of getting used to. You know, I used to be in and out all the time. My husband used to say, "Where are you going now? What are you doing now?" And it's like, and now it's, you know, he's had to give up work, bless him. He has to look after me, you know, and that is very hard, you know, losing your independence at such a young age, you know. So I tell my kids every day, do what makes you happy. Live life to the full. Do everything you want to do. Don't put limitations on yourself, and don't tell yourself you can't do it before you've even tried. Because life has a funny way of changing 360 before you even realise. You know, I mean, hey, I turned 50 the other week, and when I was 21, I never even saw being 50, you know, but all of a sudden here I am 50. You know, my husband's turn in a couple of weeks, months, I mean, sorry, I'm making me older than he is. But I did something very brave 2 weeks ago. I had 2 tattoos, you know, one was, if I can turn it round, I can't turn it round, there, it's a tulip, and it says "Nobody fights alone," for Parkinson's, and I had that for my eldest daughter. Can't see it that way up, but it's a moon, and basically, you know, she'll not thank me for this, but I adore her, and I call her Moonface. It's a little nickname that I gave her all her life, and basically, that's just a nickname. And even now, I should text her and say, "How you doing, beautiful Moonface?" And she'll reply, "Mom, you know, I'm 29 this year." And I think, well, you're still my baby. But I've got Logan and Tony. Tony's 29 this year, and Logan's 29 this year. But obviously, Logan's my stepson. He's amazing. He supports me really well, helps take care of me like with my husband does as well. And without them, I don't know where I'd be. I'm very thankful. Anyway, there's 8 days apart. One's on the 15th, one's on the 7th. So they're lovely. And then I've got my Emily. She's 21. And then I've got Gwendolyn. She's 15. And then I've got my youngest Declan, who's 13. And then I've got 2 grandkids. Harvey, he's 11, and Harper, who's 3. So, you know, we're a lovely little family. There's only us lot, and you'll meet them eventually. And as I do these videos, and Ziggy the mad dog, we call him a beaver or a termite because he just eats everything. He's a chocolate Labrador, and no bit of wood safe. So anyway, you know, I just wanted to introduce myself, and every time I do a video, I shall say something about Parkinson's, how it affects people, or me, you know, because I can only give my opinion on what I know happens. You know, everybody's story is different. You know, haven't got much confidence, so wearing this and having this Duodopa pump in a couple of months is not going to do much for my body image, but hey ho. My husband said it doesn't matter about what you look like, it's about what you can tell people, which is true, but it's nice to look good too. So, but I hope one day Darlene will watch my videos. You know, thankfully she replied to my text message, and she's okay. So she stopped doing her videos about 5 months ago, and you know, you just get attached to people and you wonder if they're okay, because this disease is very cruel, and you know, people are ignorant. I mean, hey, I went out before they diagnosed me for a Christmas lunch at a local restaurant with my children, and I heard some woman say, "Look at her, drunk at this time." And I was so upset. I didn't leave the house for 2 years. I sat in my chair downstairs, and that's how horrible people can be. I'm not drunk. I don't have any dopamine, or I didn't know at the time. So therefore, I fall all over, my my balance isn't very good. I had a massive fall, you know, a couple of years ago and blacked all my face. But when my tablets are working well, you wouldn't know anything was wrong with me. When I'm off, I can barely walk. My husband has to help me. But that's, you know, part of Parkinson's. But there is hope. There's new things coming out all the time. And hopefully things will get better. Sorry if this has gone on a long time, but obviously this is the start. I think for each day I'll add a little something different, or it might be in the middle of the night when I can't sleep, and because that's the other thing with Parkinson's. And also I'm going through the menopause, so a bit of a double whammy, because I've only just turned 50, but obviously they took my ovaries, so I ended up going through the Parkinson's. But menopause, I mean, here goes my brain going again. And you'll often do silly things like you'll take too much medication, or you'll not take enough, forget whether you've took one or not, so you don't take one, and because your brain's not, so you must write things down. So I don't know if these videos will help anybody else with Parkinson's, but I just don't feel there's enough people out there, real people, that's there for people to reach out to, because along the way I hope to make friends and people in my situation, that we can talk and help each other along this journey, because it's a very cruel disease, and anyhow, thank you for listening to me, and I will be back again tomorrow. Thank you. Goodbye.